What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rosie TV. It's Safe here, and with the World Cup just a few weeks away, I decided that I want to preview every single group. Instead of putting it into one long video, I'm going to preview every single group individually, and obviously we're going to start off with Group A. Now, since there's still a few more weeks until the World Cup, some injuries in training could happen. This is being recorded before the Champions League final, so there could be some injuries there. There could be some injuries in the warm-up games. That is not being taken into account. Please think about that when you're watching as well. So let's just go straight into this with Group A. This group consists of, obviously, the hosts, Russia. We have Egypt, Uruguay, and Saudi Arabia. Now, just starting from the bottom, I think the team that will do the worst in this group is Saudi Arabia. They did pretty well in qualifying, getting second in their group, from the Asian qualifiers. And while I do think they're a pretty solid team, I don't really see them doing anything in this tournament. This is a pretty tough group that they're in, so I think they'll be lucky to get maybe 1 point or 2 points. So, unfortunately, fourth place for Saudi Arabia. Now, in terms of third and second, I think this was a big toss-up for me. Russia being the hosts, they have a big advantage here. It's the World Cup. And the fact that it's in Russia, a lot of teams are not used to playing in Russia, so they definitely have that for them. I mean, just thinking about it, in the Champions League, a lot of teams do struggle when they play a Russian team away from home. We have to take that into account. But, looking at last year's Confederations Cup, they couldn't manage to get out of their group, and that was in Russia. They struggled against the likes of Mexico and Portugal, and those are good teams, but, there's some good teams in here as well. So you could argue that Russia will get second, but I'm actually going to just play it safe here and say that they're going to get third in their group. They're not a fantastic team. I think they're a pretty organized side, but there's nothing really special or popping out of Russia that we really have to look at and say, hey, Russia are a big threat. So now moving on to the runners-up. The strongest team in this group from top to bottom is probably Uruguay, but I'm going to say they actually get runners-up in this group. They had a fantastic qualifying period from South America, which is very hard to qualify out of, and they got second place, second only to Brazil, who were, almost flawless throughout the whole qualification period. And Uruguay definitely, what they have going for them, they have two of the top 5 strikers in the world in Luis Suarez and Edinson Cavani. But it might be my era bias saying that, Egypt's going to win this group. But I think this is going to be one of those moments where it's just going to be the magic of the World Cup. Not all the great teams get top of their group. And I would classify Uruguay as a great team. I wouldn't say it's like one of the top 6 or 7 teams in this tournament, but I still think, they're definitely in an upper tier. The thing is, though, Egypt are coming in with a lot of momentum. I know they have some very passionate fans. They haven't been in the World Cup in decades. They've been waiting for this moment for such a long time. They have the most informed player in the world in Mohamed Salah, a very organized team, a team that made it to the African Cup of Nations finals just a few years ago. I know they ended up losing, but they have improved a lot since then. So I do think, for me, Egypt will get top of this group. Again, you could say that there's a little bit of Arab bias going on, but I do think Egypt are going to have a monster tournament, actually going to be one of the dark horses in this World Cup to maybe possibly go up to the quarterfinals. But yeah, so I'm going to say Egypt get first, Uruguay get second. It could very well be Uruguay and Russia getting out of the group, and not even Egypt. It could very well be Russia and Egypt. So a lot of things could happen from this group. I think this is going to be a very interesting group. The only team that I really don't see doing anything is Saudi Arabia. In this series, I'm going to look at every group, and I'm going to also tell you 3 players to watch out for in this group. Obviously, this one is easy. Mohamed Salah, I think he's going to be the top player from this group. He could possibly be even the top scorer from the World Cup. He's going to have a fantastic tournament. He's just been on fire. He's really developed into a fantastic player this past season. So he's definitely someone to look out for. Luis Suarez has a lot to prove. Didn't really do that well in the Champions League, the premier competition that he plays in. So here A lot of people are saying he's past it. I personally don't think he's past it. I think he's possibly going to have a good World Cup. The last World Cup, he eliminated England, but he also went on to bite Chiellini against Italy and got suspended and didn't get to play for like 4 months. So here, he has to right all his wrongs. I think he has a chip on his shoulder. I think that's probably going to bring the best out of Suarez. And finally, kind of the outside shout, I could say Cavani, but I'm going to actually say Mateus Vecino, who's had a very good season for Inter, has become a key player there. He plays for Uruguay in Uruguay's midfield. I look at him and say he's going to start every single game for Uruguay. I think he's going to be that key man in midfield. They're going to look at to bring a balance to their team. So if Uruguay do go far, I think Vecino is going to have a big contribution to this team. So those are my 3 players to look out for. Tell me if you guys agree with me, with my whole rankings. Let me just repeat it for you. Egypt number 1, Uruguay number 2, Russia number 3, and finally Saudi Arabia. So tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you disagree with me? Do you agree with me? Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And thank you for watching Rosie TV.